Brazilian soccer legend Pelé, who was known as one of the world's greatest, if not the greatest, soccer players, has died at the age of 82. He had been undergoing treatment for colon cancer since 2021. The hospital Pelé had been staying at for the last month said that he died Thursday of multiple organ failure. Pelé earned the nickname The King during his career, winning a record 3 World Cups with his native Brazil. For more on Pelé's legacy, CBS Sports soccer analyst Jimmy Conrad joins me now. Jimmy, what is it about Pelé that made him just that singular name? Pelé is synonymous with soccer.
He really is, Lana, and I think it's because he put the beautiful in the beautiful game. You don't really think about the Brazilian national team and the art form that they made this sport without him being the symbol of it and what he was doing at such a young age. Back in 1958, his first World Cup at the age of 17, he scored 3 goals in a World Cup semifinal against France, and scored 2 more in the final against Sweden to win his first World Cup. He helped them win the 1962 World Cup, even though he was injured for a portion of it. And then he missed the 66 World Cup. Brazil didn't win. That's not a coincidence. He comes back in 1970 and wins it again. That's 3 different decades that he ultimately claimed the biggest prize in the sport. And the way that he did it, I think, is really what stands out and why people remember him for his on the field theatrics and his ability. Was just, he was thinking 3 steps ahead. He was doing things that people were in awe of and they still talk about to this day. And he did it first. He was doing it before anybody else got there. The Messis, the Ronaldos, the Kylian Mbappes that exist now wouldn't be there without the inspiration of Pelé.
A kind of modern dance almost out on the pitch. He also had a major impact on growing the sport of soccer, or football as it's known, elsewhere around the world. But here in the United States, what was it about him, and not just his time playing here for the U.S., but what was it about his role in football, in soccer, that made it so popular?
Yeah, that's a great question. He joined the New York Cosmos in the NASL, the Professional Soccer League, back then in 1975. And when he came, attendance rose by 80% immediately because they wanted to see what he brought to the table. He came over in his mid-30s, and he was just electric. Again, what he brings to the field, and not only his style of play, but also the joy that he brought. I actually feel like he was playing with a smile on his face every time he stepped on the field. He was that grateful for playing the game that he loved. And because of that, I think what it proved here was that the sport could work in this country. And I think it really set the groundwork for what eventually has now become Major League Soccer and all the other leagues that are underneath it. And of course, the boom of soccer overall. We can look at the success of the U.S. men's national team, and we can look at the women's national team as well. That probably all go back to connecting the dots to Pelé and his first involvement here in the NASL and coming to play for the Cosmos, and just how he grabbed the imagination of everybody here, and that it could work, that you could play the beautiful game and that people would enjoy it here in the United States.
So you're talking about his electricity, you're talking about his proficiency, you're talking about the length span of Pelé's legendary career. What do you remember most about him?
Well, I think it's his smile. He just had something about him, his gravitas. And in some ways, after he retired, I think he became even bigger. He became this icon, this ambassador for the sport, to prove that the impossible was possible. And that's what I think we all love about him, that he came from very humble beginnings, grew up poor in Brazil. He was a black athlete as well, that was trying to fight for that recognition and really laid the groundwork. I heard some of my friends compare him to Jackie Robinson, who broke that barrier here in the States, and he did that globally. And everywhere he went, people wanted to be around him. They wanted his infectious personality and his awe. I had an opportunity to go to an event that he was at in New York, and I thought I was going to get to meet him. They promised I would get to meet him, but everybody wanted to meet him. Respected journalists who are like breaking the line. It's super taboo to go take a photo with your favorite athlete, wanted to shake his hand. They wanted a photo. They wanted an autograph. I mean, he just was larger than life. And others have compared him to Muhammad Ali, and I'd throw him in that conversation as well. He just transcended sport and became something bigger, and really an icon for growing the game and just being a positive beacon of hope for everybody around the world.
All right, Jimmy Conrad, thank you.